Welcome to this 25-minute yoga flow for conscious awareness. We'll start in a seated position, maybe placing your palms in your lap, finding a soft gaze, or gently closing the eyes, lengthening through the spine, rolling the shoulders back and down. Taking a few intentional breaths, becoming aware of this moment, the sensations that you're experiencing right here, right now. And on your next inhale, we'll begin to extend our arms skywards. Exhale, joining the palms together, lowering them to heart center. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths, in through the nose and exhaling. When you're ready, we will commence with some gentle neck rolls, finding some half moon circles, lowering one ear to one shoulder, flowing through center and back to the other side. You might like to break this up or find some fluidity in your movement. You can keep the eyes closed here if you like. It's just about the sensations going on inside, inviting mobility into the cervical region of the spine, leaning into what feels a little interesting, perhaps sticking around for a little longer. And on our next inhale, we'll come into a side stretch, dropping the right forearm onto the mat, extending the left arm overhead. Exhale back to center, inhale, go on the left, finding a deep side stretch along the right side body. You can continue just like this, flowing with the breath, or you might like to stay on one side a little longer. Mindfully becoming aware of the muscles, the body parts working together to afford you this opportunity to move your body today. It is a privilege to show up on the mat. When you're ready, we will transition into a tabletop position facing the short edge of our mat. Wrists are in line with shoulders. On our inhale, we'll come into cow pose, broadening across the chest. Exhale, curl and round, chin to chest. Inhale, scoop the body forward, finding a slight back bend in the thoracic spine. Exhale, curl and round, finding your own rhythm. One more round. Grounding down through center. On your next inhale, we'll tent up onto our fingertips, bringing our right leg through, coming into a supported low lunge. You might like to extend the arms overhead, joining the palms together. Right knee, the front knee is in line with the ankle, lifting up out of the waist. Inner thighs are drawing together, feeling a nice stretch along the inner seam and the hip flexor of the left leg. Working on grounding down through the left foot, the shin, the knee, the right foot. Maintaining that body awareness as we move throughout our practice today. Breathing into any spaces of tension. We'll float the arms down, tuck our left toes and hinge our hips back as we come into a half split. You might like to grab some props here, blocks, pillows, books, just helping you find some height to facilitate that lengthening of the spine without compromising your form. Feeling a deep stretch along the back side of the right leg, working into the calf, the hamstrings. You might like to keep your left foot tucked for extra knee support, or perhaps point the toes, whatever works for you. On our next inhale, we'll shift our weight forward, again coming into a supported high lunge, maybe using the blocks here. Maybe sinking a little deeper into the stretch as we begin to warm up our body. Finding length through the spine. Core is activated here, we're not collapsing into our lower back. On your next exhale, tuck the back toes and shift the hips back, coming into a half split Ardha Hanumanasana. If you're using props, maybe playing around with the height, seeing if you can slowly melt your heart forward. Surrendering to the posture, appreciating any discomfort, finding your edge. And on your next inhale, shifting your weight forward, maybe popping the blocks to the side. And we'll walk our right leg out towards the edge of our mat, coming into lizard posture. You might like to stay upright for a bit of an added activation, maybe extending the left leg, the back leg, maybe dropping down onto the forearms, or you might like to bend the left knee. Perhaps untucking the toes, maybe opening the right hip out, rolling onto the lateral edge, the blade edge of your right foot. And you can find stillness or movement here. It's entirely up to you. This is your practice. And remember, every day is going to be different. If something feels a little off today, listen to your body. Working our way back up to our fingertips, tucking the left toes under and hinging back into a Ardha Hanumanasana with a wide-legged stance. Both shoulders are on the inside of the right leg. Working on keeping that right leg extended, flexing through the foot, grounding down through the right heel, the right knee is pointed skywards. One more full breath here. Beginning to transition the weight forward, we'll come into a quad stretch, flexing the left foot, drawing the heel towards the glute, whirlwinding the right arm around, maybe gently clasping that left foot, drawing it towards your hips, towards your glute, keeping the foot flexed to protect the knee joint. And if you'd like a deeper stretch, maybe grabbing onto the inner seam of the foot, rotating the shoulders towards the front of the mat and drawing the chin towards the chest. Breathing through any tension. This is a really great way to stretch the quads, the hip flexors. When you're ready, letting go of the grip, bringing your right arm to meet your left, and we'll walk our right foot in between our arms, bringing our right knee back to meet our left, taking a moment in tabletop, grounding yourself, maybe taking a round of cat and cow, neutralizing the spine, and we'll get ready to go on the other side, tenting up onto the fingertips, engaging the core, bringing the left knee towards the chest and placing it between the fingertips, coming up into a low lunge, maybe extending the arms overhead. Feeling a deep stretch along the right side body, grounding down through the right heel, the right foot, right knee is in line with the ankle, lifting up and out of the side waist. With every inhale, seeing if you can get a little longer, and with the exhale, sinking a little deeper into that hip flexor stretch, melting into the posture. One more full breath here. When you're ready, floating the fingertips down to frame the front foot, tucking the back toe under, maybe grabbing your props here, pushing the hips back, coming into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. The right knee is in line with the hips are squared towards the front of the mat. Finding length along the spine, lifting up and out of the waist before we fold. Working on stretching deep into the back side of the left leg. Breathing pranic life force and love into the hamstrings, the calf muscle. Flexing that foot, protecting the muscles around the knee, protecting the ligaments. And on your next inhale, sink the hips forward, coming into a low lunge, maybe lifting the arms up, maybe keeping them on blocks for support. One side, again, might feel completely different from the other. Perhaps you feel that you need the support on this side, and that's okay. Just being mindful and tuning into what the body is asking of you. On your next exhale, tuck the right toes under, hinging the hips back, pressing back into Ardha Hanumanasana. Maybe noticing your capacity to deepen the posture, find a little bit more length. Imagine creating space, even if you don't initially see any difference. Play with this idea in your mind. Feel that you are becoming more flexible, more mobile. Be open to this change. On your next inhale, pressing forwards, maybe popping the props to the side, and we will transition into our lizard pose on the left side, walking the left heel out towards the edge of the mat, maybe tucking the toes and extending that right leg for an added strengthening element, coming down onto the forearms, externally rotating the left hip, coming onto the blade edge of the left foot, maybe lowering the right knee down. Finding your variation of the posture. You might be coming all the way down onto your arms, resting your forehead on the mat. One more full breath. Wherever you are in the posture, beginning to work your way back up onto your fingertips. And hinging the hips back into Ardha Hanumanasana with a wider stance. Both arms are on the inside of that left leg. Maintaining flexion in both feet. Maybe you're all the way up on fingertips, or perhaps you're sinking down and melting entirely over that left leg. It's up to you. Find your edge. With every inhale, seeing if you can get a little longer and melt a little more with every exhale. On your next breath, we will hinge our hips forward, tucking the right toes under, flexing the right foot, drawing it towards our glutes, maybe whirlwinding the arm around, finding a bind and a deep quad stretch. Perhaps gazing over that left shoulder, or for a deeper stretch, rotating the grip of the arm, rotating the shoulders to face the front of the mat and drawing that chin towards the chest, seeing if you can get the right heel towards the glute while maintaining flexion in that foot to protect the knee. If this is too much for you, you can always try this posture with a blanket under your knee, or perhaps against a wall for a little more support and stability. Floating the arms back to frame the front foot, gently lowering the back leg, and floating up onto our fingertips, we'll bring our right leg to meet our left, coming into a forward fold. You might like to place your arms down in front of your legs, bend the knees considerably, allowing the head to hang heavy, maybe rolling the neck from side to side. If it's in your practice, perhaps grabbing either elbow, coming into ragdoll. On your next inhale, we'll come up into a halfway lift, maybe placing the fingertips on the shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. You might like to use your props here to find some height and length. Playing around with any adjustments you might like to take, deepening the stretch along the back body. Exhale, fold. And once more, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, slowly coming up one vertebra at a time, head coming up last. Extend the arms overhead. Exhale, lower them to heart center. Inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, arms coming out wide like bird wings. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant the fingers, step back with the left leg, coming up into warrior one. Left leg is out on a 45-degree angle. Right knee is in line with the ankle. Navel is drawn towards the spine, core is activated, protecting the lower back. Finding stillness. If ever the mind begins to wander, guiding yourself to the breath. Pivoting towards the side of the mat, will come into a warrior two. Left foot is parallel with the short edge of the mat. Arms are in line with the shoulders. Maybe gazing over that front arm. Pelvis is slightly tucked. One more full breath. From here, we'll transition into a reverse sun warrior, guiding the left arm down the left leg, finding a nice stretch along the side body, maybe gazing down or gazing up, if it's conducive with the comfort of your neck. One breath here, and cartwheeling the arms to frame the front foot, stepping back into plank pose, lengthening through the crown of the head, through the heels, taking a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Slowly walking the feet to meet the hands at the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Once more, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Slowly coming up one vertebra at a time. Inhaling, extending the arms overhead, joining the palms together. Exhale, lowering to heart center. Again, inhale, extend the arms overhead, spread them wide like bird wings as we come into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, frame the front feet, stepping the right leg back, out on a 45-degree angle, coming into warrior one on the left. Finding that deep side stretch on the right side. Activating and grounding down through that left leg. Working on keeping those hips squared towards the front of the mat. We might have a tendency to let that right hip splay out to the side, just mindfully guiding back to center. It doesn't have to be perfect. Keeping that intention there. One more full cycle of breath. Pivoting to face the right edge of your mat, will come into warrior two. Maybe taking a moment to adjust the stance, walking the legs out a little further or bringing them in slightly. Every body is different. The back foot is relatively parallel with the short edge of the mat. The front knee, the left knee, is in line with the ankle. Arms are in line with the shoulders. Fingertips are activated. Shoulders are rolled back and down. Core is engaged. Maybe gazing over those left fingertips. One full breath in Warrior Two. And transitioning into a reverse Sun Warrior. Guiding the right arm down the right leg, extending the left arm skywards, maybe gazing down at that right leg or up at the fingertips, over the shoulder. One breath here. And cartwheeling the arms forward, framing the front foot, stepping the left leg back, transitioning into plank pose. Finding your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, push back into downward facing dog. One breath here. Slowly dropping the knees towards the mat. Begin to lower the chest down, extending the arms out in front. Coming into puppy pose. Knees are in line with hips. Really stretching out the shoulders, the chest, the back. Being mindful to keep some awareness, some activation in the core. We're not collapsing into the spine here. We want to protect our lumbar and sacral region. One more full breath here. Beginning to transition your weight onto your forearms, coming into Sphinx pose, Salamba Bhujangasana. You might like to gaze over either shoulder just to ensure that your legs are extended behind you, they're not splayed out to the side. Grounding down through the tops of the feet, the thighs, the shins. Pressing down through the lateral edges of the forearm, the fingers. Broadening across the chest, across the collarbones. And gently pushing back into child's pose. You might like to widen the knees towards the edges of your mat or slightly wider. Allowing the forehead to rest on the floor. If that feels a little far away, you might like to place a block underneath your forehead, or maybe even under your belly for some added support. Really working on extending those fingertips as far out in front as possible, stretching the back of the body, the arms, the shoulders. Surrendering to this moment, finding a connection to your breath, your body. Congratulate yourself for showing up today. For showing up to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. And when you are ready, I invite you to join us in a seated position, perhaps keeping the eyes closed, rolling the shoulders back, palms in your lap, finding your center. Finding stillness. On your next inhale, we'll begin to slowly extend the arms skywards, joining the palms together. Exhale, lowering the palms towards the third eye center, the Ajna chakra, the space between your eyebrows, and acknowledging your efforts for showing up today. Namaste.